Most of us take pooping for granted, but what if you couldn't? The anus is the hole we use for expelling waste from our bodies, but very rarely a baby is born without an anus. This is called imperforate anus. To perforate something means to make a hole in it, so something imperforate is something without a hole, like a baby without an anus. The digestive system is all the parts of our body that we need to use the food we eat and expel the waste. It's designed like a long tube going from gum to bum, from the mouth to the anus. While a baby is developing in its mother's belly, several things can go wrong that will end up with an imperforate anus. Normally, at one time before we were born, we only had one tube leading from our bellies to outside our bodies. While we were growing inside our mothers, this tube separated into two different tubes, one for pee and one for poop, the urinary and digestive tracts, respectively. If this separation doesn't happen, we end up with only one tube to the outside and no anus. Later, but also before we're born, the end of the digestive tract has to find its way to the outside of the body, like a worm finding its way to the outside of an apple. If it doesn't, again, we don't have an anus. Finally, even if the anus ends up in the right place, the gap between it and the outside of the body has to open up and make a connection. If it doesn't, we've come close, but still no anus. Fortunately, imperforate anus can be fixed by surgeons. In cases where the anus is close to the surface of the body, the surgery is simpler. The surgeon can just make an opening. When the anus is farther inside the body, the surgeon may have to pull it down to where it's supposed to be, called a pull-down procedure. In the meantime, the baby might need a colostomy, which means another opening in the abdomen is made for the waste to leave until the anus is connected correctly. Later, the colostomy will be closed by doctors and the baby has a functioning anus. When a baby is born with an imperforate anus, it's usually noticed and fixed right away. However, people who had imperforate anuses when they were very young are more likely to have some other health problems because of the different way their bodies formed. These can be problems of the skeleton, like bones that have joined together, or bones that are missing, heart problems, other problems of the digestive tract, like connections between the tubes we're supposed to use for eating and breathing, problems of the systems involved in producing urine, and differently formed arms or hands. Imperforate anus is a very rare thing, and only happens to about 1 in 5,000 babies. It can be fixed by surgery shortly after birth, and people who had it can live normal, happy lives. But they should be aware of the other health problems that can happen along with it.